Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. I've got a great guest with me today, Arielle Scarcella. She's a YouTuber and a Twitter buddy of mine, and she's joining us today to talk all things LGBT Pride Month. Arielle, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I gotta get my butt down to DC to see you.
I know you came through a while back, and we meant to get some iced coffee, show our support for the community. Didn't happen, but
I was crazy busy. I was in the process of moving back to New York. That's what it was.
Oh, why would anyone move back to New York?
I know, only part-time, only for the summer.
Good.
Only for the summer. Yeah.
Okay, good. But anyway, I think you probably have, I mean, you're very young still, but you're a little older than me. You probably have more experience with Pride in general. So how many times have you been, and what's your experience been like over the years?
Oh man, I've been to at least 13 New York City Prides. I've been to West Hollywood Pride. I've been to Barcelona World Pride. I've been to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete Pride. I think that's it. I'm probably missing like 2 or 3 of them, but like Sydney Pride. I went to Sydney Pride last year. How could I forget about that? So it's called Mardi Gras there. I think that the main difference is, and I think that's where you're going with the stream, is the politicalization of it all now compared to back then. You know, like now, well, I could say back then, I don't necessarily know if a Republican or conservative, you know, would have marched in the parade, because they do allow politicians to, you know, sponsor a float, or if they want to, you know, sponsor a part in the parade and they can walk and they show that they're supportive of the LGBT community, whatever. But even if that person was a Republican today that supported LGBT rights, I don't think that they would get praise. It's really sad. It's not about supporting gays. It's about being a Democrat and being a progressive.
Yeah, and I would understand it, right?
That's what happened, yeah.
I would understand it, right, if it was like, okay, well, if you're an anti-gay rights politician on that one issue, we're not going to let you participate, right? Of course.
Why would they want to anyway? Why would they want to? Why are they trying to get into the parade if they're anti-gay anyway? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
But the problem is that you have a lot of Republicans that are supportive of LGBT rights. It looks slightly differently, right, when it comes to religious liberty or some things, but they still won't accept them. So I've never been to Pride, full disclosure, throwing it out there. I thought it would be, I've only been out for a few years. I mean, I'm a pretty young guy. But I thought it would, so I've been critical of the Pride movement because I only know it in its very recent iteration. Right. And when I see the videos and the clips and the photos, I see gun control signs. I see pro-abortion signs.
It became about everything other than just being sexually attracted to the same sex.
Right, which is supposed to be
or having gender dysphoria. Right, it has nothing to do with those two things anymore. You know?
So then what does it stand for?
The cult-like mind of the Democratic Progressive Party, I guess, honestly. Like, I have a really good friend of mine, David, who is based out of Tampa. And every year he goes to his Pride Parade, you know, the Pride Parade, I think it was literally like yesterday, actually. Tampa Pride was yesterday. And he told me that last year when he went, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, that he was like booed and bullied for showing up with a MAGA hat, like, because they have MAGA hat and rainbow. And it was bullied. And his friend Rogan, who's a cis straight white male, right? Also went to Gay Pride to support his friend. So it's like, it's very clear that this isn't about LGBT people and who supports LGBT people. It's about a specific agenda. You know, I actually wanted to do a video and I haven't done it yet because I'm not sure how to proposition it. But what I really want to do is go into these safe spaces, you know, for LGBT people to see if I still feel safe. Because I guarantee you, I wouldn't at this point. And that says a lot, you know, whether it's because I have different, you know, ideas for immigration or whatever, you know, fiscal stuff, you know, more conservative fiscally. Or I don't fully support every single trans issue. Right. Because it competes with women's issues, right? Of course, I'm not going to support every single trans issue. I'm literally, it's gotten to the point where I'm literally fearful sometimes of going to these LGBT events because I know people will know who I am. I'm not trying to sound egotistical, but people, not a lot, but there always is at least a few people that knew who I am. And I'm afraid that I don't think they would actually attack me, but the fear is there, you know, and it's scary to know that they think, because they think they're in the right, they wouldn't think twice about attacking somebody, I think.
Yeah.
And that's worrisome for me, you know?
So I've had something a bit similar. Obviously in the gay community, I'm not by no means famous or anything, but in Washington, D.C., it's a super political gay community because a lot of the gay people work in politics. So a number of them know who I am. I mean, I've been writing for years about this stuff. And so I've had them tell me very clearly online, like if they see me in the gay bars, they'll throw me out, they'll punch me in the face. I don't actually drink alcohol, just in a random aside, so I don't go to gay bars anyway. But if I did, I would feel nervous on edge that somebody would come confront me. And it's like, why? Because you and I, neither of us are some like insane far-right extremist. We're just not liberals.
Right, exactly. That's literally all it comes down to. And I was talking to, you know, ex-friends about this all, and they'd never see an issue with unfriending or defriending friends, you know, defriending people that they used to be friends with when they have different political views. And it's like, how do you not see the hypocrisy in that? Because I've been friends with you for 5 years, and those 5 years that we had been friends, like, we didn't agree on every single issue, even when I was still identifying as a more left, even though I was kind of always in the middle, I guess, looking back. But I don't know why, I don't know why they feel so morally superior to everyone else at the moment. Right. So much so that they think that it is okay to unfriend somebody just because their political views are different. Because the truth is, like, nobody knows necessarily what political or like what changes in laws will work unless they've been done before, or they, you know, or unless they've been done before and then we have something to judge, you know, to compare it to. But a lot of these laws that are being put into place, besides like the communist socialist kind of stuff that they're trying to make happen, a lot of it is new, because a lot of the trans stuff is new and no one really knows how to do it perfectly. But they're saying, oh no, we do know how to do it perfectly. And it's like, not really, because no one's done it yet. So we're all trying to figure this out together. And I have one idea, you have one idea. Nobody knows what the right idea is. I'm not hating on you because I know that you mean well. So why can't you trust me that I mean well? That's all that is.
It seems like they've become intolerant in their own way. And this manifested itself recently in something you did a video about in your New York-based part-time still. They banned police officers, LGBT police officers, from marching in New York Pride. What's up with that? Disgusting.
I just had my angel over here who has been a friend of mine since we were like 15, 16 years old in high school. And she's a lesbian, and she was never proud to be a cop. Not because she didn't like cops, obviously she is one. It was just, it felt like it was like, okay, this is just the job that I have. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. She didn't feel proud of it until she marched in the parade and saw like, wow, this is my community and I'm standing up and protecting my community. And then that made her feel proud, more proud to be gay, but also more proud to be a gay cop, gay police officer, especially in New York City, like, especially now. She was telling me that she has to work, 6 days a week and only a few hours. And then she works like 10-hour shifts, and Pride, she used to work 19-hour days during the Pride parade and stuff, because obviously the hate groups and hate crimes and stuff. But especially now because of all the, the defunding of the police and stuff like that, there's literally people getting stabbed on the trains. It's like a crazy uptick in severe, like murder, not necessarily murders, but like attacks, like physical violence, And she was telling me this, and it's like, sorry, I don't know if I can curse on your channel, but it's like, I feel genuinely bad for this girl. She's been on the job for 10 years, and she's been protecting people in our community for 10 years.
Yeah. And what does that get you? It gets you, you're the wrong type of gay, the wrong type of lesbian.
It gets you excommunicated from the community. And, people, don't want you to come in. You could technically, obviously she can go to gay pride, but she can't go in uniform. And I asked her that, and she goes, no, I'm not going to go unless I'm allowed to be in uniform. She goes, I will not. And I said, how come? She goes, because then I'm giving them what they want.
It's like closeted. They're pushing her into the closet. They're saying you have to hide who you are.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And she's like, I will not allow them to do that to me. Absolutely not. She wants to not be a police officer anymore anyway. But that has obviously, it has to do with the job. She's also been doing it for so long. She's kind of just over it. But especially obviously with what's been happening over the past year and a half, it's a train wreck. And a lot of well, not a lot of friends of mine. I think I have maybe four friends that are like police officers, detectives, kind of work, and almost all of them have like spoken to me and like, we don't want to do this anymore. And I don't blame them. Yeah. And a lot of them, most of them are here. The ones in Florida are really cool. Like their jobs are pretty like stable for the most part. But in the more like progressive places like here, Chicago, it's a lot more friends of friends that I've seen, because I don't have that many friends that are police officers. Like I said, about 4, but a lot more friends of mine have reached out because they knew I was posting this video, because I spoke about it on my Facebook page, and they were like, girl, if I could only tell you like how many people I know that are cops, not even necessarily gay cops, black cops, like any kind of cop, doesn't matter, gay, straight, bi, whatever, black, white, so many of them are trying to get the hell out of there, and I really truly don't blame them. I really don't.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Well, and it's a shame too, because I feel like the Pride movement has become so political that whatever the original point was is just lost. And do you think there's something about Pride, an apolitical Pride, that's important and adds value that now we're losing out on?
I think yes, because I think whenever you get into something as serious or as dividing as politics, it's not even, it just becomes divisive. Like, I get, there's no other word for it. It becomes divisive because I know as soon as I walk into that, the gay, like I'll give you an example. My friend Brooke is a lesbian. She worked on the Trump campaign, been a Republican her whole life, conservative, but like socially libertarian, right? Like I think most conservatives these days are libertarians socially. They're like, okay, do whatever the hell you want. Just don't take my guns, don't take my money, whatever. And I think that's a good way to be, in my opinion. That's kind of what I am. And I remember her telling me that she really wanted to go to the gay club in Orlando. And she was like, for a while, she was like, I really want to wear my MAGA hat because I'm proud of it. And it has the rainbow. And I'm one of the only gay people that are working on Trump's campaign, and we're out and we're proud. And like, Trump doesn't give a shit. She said, he doesn't give a shit. She's like, I'm afraid to wear it at the gay club. That should not be the case. Should not. No. And that's where we're at. And I think that's feeling like you are shunned by your own community is a horrible feeling, especially because so many people that are gay have been shunned from, their biological family, right? Yeah. Or from potentially from work or whatever. Like, at least that's what the left is saying, that still happens. Doesn't happen as much anymore, but it still sucks. Shouldn't happen at all. Shouldn't happen from your biological family or from your community, so to speak. It's a shame.
Yeah. One thing that I wonder about too is the Pride movement has always walked this kind of line, because in one sense, it started with a riot. It's supposed to be rebellious, but now it's almost become like woke corporations, rainbow branded. And I feel like the last thing I need is another email from some like Patagonia or Kellogg's or one of these companies that has my email address telling me they stand with the community and sending me like a rainbow colored discount code to buy more of their stuff.
Did you see the meme that I posted the other day on Twitter? It was like people that are on the left that say that we hate capitalism. And it's like, buy our product. The left is like, we hate capitalism. And then it's like, buy our product and all gay flags. And the left is like, did you see that?
But it's like, when did it get so corporate?
I don't know. Like, well, I remember my first few Pride parades. There weren't that many corporate sponsors. The one that I will give them credit, Budweiser, Bud Light, specifically Bud Light, from what I remember, has been like one of the biggest corporate sponsors of gay pride, at least in New York City, for as long as I've been going. I'll give them that. And I don't think they're like woke or anything. But now it's like every 5, and like, I don't think that it's bad for a brand to show that they are supportive. I don't. I just think I think I just get annoyed when they're only doing it once a year.
Right. It's not bad, but it gets disingenuous at a certain point.
It feels disingenuous when it's just for the 1 month, right? Just for the 1 month. It's like, okay, like, why don't you do an ad during the year of a lesbian couple? Or like something, I don't know, a girl playing sports that's like a tomboy and you can tell she's gay. Like something, like a Wheaties box, I don't know. But you're like, if it's only just that once a year, it's similar. I'm going to compare it to Black History Month. It's like, okay, why are you only promoting Black writers or actors or whatever during that month? Like, we should promote them because they're good at what they do, not because they're Black, not because we're gay, but because we should be treated as people and not like, you know, not this separate entity that's only like important during February or June, you know?
And I wonder to what extent the corporations, they're doing it just because they're afraid, right, of a mob, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Twitter will come for them if they don't
100%.
post a trans flag enough times, and that's not genuine.
No, it's not. It's not that they're sorry, this lawnmower's outside. No, they're afraid of the woke mob, but at the same time, I think people finally are starting to push back, starting to see that it's not genuine, and they're starting to like, what is it? Get woke, go broke, like that whole thing. And it's so true. It is so true. Like, people were pissed at Coca-Cola. Oh my God. Like, so I was in Georgia, in Atlanta, and I looked at the Coca-Cola, like there's like the Coke Museum or whatever the hell it was, and I was like, F that. Like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not giving my money. You know. So, not that I'm trying to cancel them online, because I'm not about cancel culture, but I'm also not going to go and support monetarily a brand that I disagree with. You know what I mean? Like, I make that decision for myself.
I don't like boycotts. That is, I don't like, I'm not going to start mobs against a company or whatever, but
no, I didn't do that. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do that, but I'm also not just going to give them my money. Like,
right. Like, I like Nike products. I always would wear them for soccer, for everything. I don't really buy their stuff anymore because I'm just sick of the constant, insane woke pandering and politicization of it. And I guess, is that what conservatives have to do to push back on this stuff? Do they have to embrace that tactic?
I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is yet. I think we're still learning. From what I've seen, I think it's just like the conservative movement coming together and being like, this is stupid, why are you doing this? And kind of playing the same game that the woke left does. They don't necessarily say, oh, we're offended, or you hurt our feelings, blah, 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 blah. They're just kind of like, this is dumb, or this is also like, you're trying to combat racism by being racist. Like, they call them out on their shit, which is needed, in my opinion. I think it's really just a matter of like playing the game, so to speak. I think that's what kind of has to happen. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way because it's kind of passive aggressive, but I'm not really, it's not like I have the head of Coca-Cola on my phone and call him up and be like, Joe, you're an idiot, Joe. Like, you can't do that. So you kind of have to do these little social media rants and, you know, what have you.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a big capitalist free market guy. And most of the time, the point is, right, profit is a good thing. It forces them to innovate, to work harder, to come up with the next technology. But I do believe businesses aren't going to ever change anything until they feel it in their pocketbook.
Oh yeah, no, they're not exactly. No, I agree with you. I don't think that these businesses would be going woke if they thought it was going to hurt them.
Which makes it even less genuine.
Yeah,
it's a calculated financial decision.
Of course, well, I mean, it's a business, and I don't mind that that's how it is because I know that that's how it is. But I don't think that leftists know that that's how it is.
They just fall for it.
They just fall for it. You and I are kind of like, okay, like we know it's a business. Obviously, there's some head of marketing and HR people and like, you know, whatever the hell, client services or whatever, working day and night trying to figure out how they're going to promote Coca-Cola and gay pride this year without being homophobic or transphobic or whatever the hell. And then they'll probably post like one ad and people will still be pissed off about it. You know, it's, I just like, I'm like, at this point with it all. I really am.
There's an extent to which the pride movement has like become not about gays and lesbians at all anymore, right?
Yeah, it's all about queer and non-binary now.
Which, I mean, I'm not saying they should not be part of it or excluded or anything. I mean,
no, I don't think they should be excluded. I've never had a problem, right?
But like most of the people in the LGBT community numerically are gay and lesbian. Mm-hmm. Yet it's all about trans, and then even the things beyond trans at these events, it's like the Q and the I and the 2 and the A and the plus, and it's like, are they just going to keep shifting it endlessly?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. If I could be like an old school feminist for a minute, I made a video about that a few years back, and I said, it's interesting how, and I'm gonna get shit for this, but whatever. It's interesting how it's always been male centered, right? It went from like being centered around gay men, very possibly white gay men. Like I'm not really in the race culture thing with the gay community. It's just like the gay community is the gay community. I don't think about race, and then I think about race, I think of race outside of that issue. Because to me, if you're gay, it's just like you're all this little group here. It went from, I think I lost my train of thought. Hold on. What was I saying?
Male-centered.
It went from being male-centered to being, like, it was never really it was never really female-centered. It was never about lesbians. We never had like our moment. It went from being male-centered, gay men, then it went like straight to like drag queens, which are also gay men, obviously, but like more like gender, like change, like whatever. Like how often do you see drag kings and shit like that? I mean, most of them are kind of boring. Like, I'll be honest. There's not really any good drag kings, but I think there could be, and even if there were, I don't think you're going to see them because it's always male focused. And then it became focused on trans women, and now it's focused on gender fluidity and all on non-binary. So it's still not focused on women. You know, like name one time in history where it was super, super focused on lesbians. It's never been.
And in fact, in the UK and some places, they've been banning some lesbian groups because they have contradictory views on trans issues, right? I mean, it's actively excluding some lesbians.
Yeah, the get the L out is what you're talking about. I agree with a lot of what they say, not all of it. I agree with the premise of it. I don't think it's transphobic what they're doing. I understand why people see it that way, but I think no matter how you see it, you should be able to coexist. That's the bottom line for me. You should be able to coexist because
agree with it all, but they should be excluded, right? They're part of the LGBT umbrella. They have the right to their view.
Yes.
Hash it out, debate it. Don't just ban.
Right, but that's another reason why I couldn't stand the far left anymore, because they don't argue. They don't know how to not argue. They know how to argue. They don't know how to debate, I should say, like you said. They just block, cancel. You know, that's the weakest argument you could do, is just try to shut somebody up because you have nothing to say.
You're afraid of what they have to say.
Afraid of what they have to say. You know that they're probably going to beat you in the argument, or you're just too stupid to even try to argue with them. I don't know what the hell they think, because even if, like, I've been beaten in arguments and I've changed, or debates, and I've changed my mind on certain issues, but that made me a stronger person, a better person. And I'd rather be somebody like that than be somebody like these people are doing, who are just trying to completely literally take away free speech from people. Deplatform, decensor, censor. Like, that's never an okay thing for me, because I've seen so many people try to do that to me over the years and sometimes succeed. And even if I disagree with somebody 100%, I still would not want to see them not be able to have their voice, because they will reach some people and help some people in some way. And I wouldn't want to take that away from those people.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I mean, for a while, if you go back, not even that far, it was the gay rights groups, the gay people who were being suppressed, right? Mm-hmm. And like, now they're the suppressors. So for example, GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign and these other LGBT professional activist organizations based in Washington, $1 million budgets, $11 million offices. I've been there. I've written about their finances. It's really, they make quite a buck off this stuff, but they try to cancel people and get them fired or deplatformed. And it's like, guys, don't you remember a minute ago when you guys were the marginal voices? Have they just forgotten?
Literally, what was it, 2012? Literally like 8 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Was not even a decade ago. Was not even a decade ago yet. And it's
have you witnessed this? Because you have been around and going to this for more years. Have you witnessed the activists themselves shift and change and become
100%.
Can you just describe that change?
I'd have to be egotistical when I explain it, because I'm only seeing it from my perspective, obviously, but and my perspective obviously is different than like the quote regular person. Obviously I'm a regular person, that's what I'm saying. But when I go to gay pride events, obviously I'm going to be recognized more than if I'm just walking in the street, right? Because that's my core audience. I used to get, like, people would run up to hug me and tell me how much I've changed their lives, and they love me. You saved my life. One girl cried at Playlist Live. Her mom cried because the girl was suicidal until she found my videos. Like, and that still happens, but not to that degree anymore. Now these kids think of me as the devil. Like, honestly, like, actually the devil, because I don't agree with them on every single issue. And I don't back down. That's really what it is. Like, if you don't agree and then and you backtrack, and then they're like, okay, she's cool now, she apologized or whatever, and she changed her mind and now she's perfect. It's like, no, I'm not gonna back down. I still feel the way I feel, and even if I was lying to you about how I felt, I still feel that way. So, like, why would I lie about it? Now when I go to Pride events, it's usually people that are my age and a little younger, a little older, and they'll come up to me, like, privately, literally, like, privately, and they'll be like, I just want you to know. Like, it's one of those things. Like,
they whisper,
I love your, yes, like, I love your content. I'm a Trump supporter. Or, like, I love your content. Thank you so much for speaking out against the crazy trans activists. It's like, and they'll say something like, you know, I support trans rights, but not, like, with this crazy shit. And I'm like, girl, I know. And I'm like, and I tell them all the time, please start speaking out. And they're like, I can't because of my job. I can't because of my job.
I get frustrated with that.
It's the same thing every time. And it's like, you're throwing me to the wolves, though. Like, you really are. And I don't want to hate people for not sticking up for me, but I can't help but be angry about it. Like, you know, it sucks. Because if everybody that believed what we believe spoke up, there would not be the bullying against us. There would not, because there are way more of us than there are of them.
Well, that's one thing I want to ask. The LGBT activists who've made Pride so far left politicized, who ostracize other people, they're not actually representative. That's like an angry, loud 20% of the community.
Yes.
But everyone else is just scared of them, right?
But they're scared. Yeah, but I'm not scared of them. I'll f them up. No, I won't actually f them up. No, I'm two friends of mine. I met up with two friends of mine the other day. And online, they seem like they're the type of people that will say whatever the hell they want to say. And they want to be those people. But again, they work in the corporate world. And I understand, I really do truly understand why people can't speak up. But just because I understand why they don't, doesn't make it any easier for me. And doesn't make me any less aggravated by the fact that this is happening. Because again, like, literally, that's the only phrase I can think of, tossing somebody to the wolves. Like, let me get eaten. Not like, nobody, Blair White, you, me, Buck Angel, what is there? Maybe 50 of us? Maybe 50 of us.
Right.
Out of millions of people that are speaking up. 50, maybe. Like, prominent people.
Well, I want to ask you something different, because I actually don't know this about you, but what's your relationship status?
It's funny, as you said that, somebody texted me. I think I'm single, but I guess I'm talking to someone.
Okay, but so you've been single recently. How has the dating pool and your dating experience been affected by you becoming less liberal and speaking out and becoming critical on some of this stuff? Because for me, it was I can tell you, it was quite a challenge.
No, it is. I think that it's not like people really won't go out of their way with dating to, like, message you and call you a terrible person. You just get, I think it's really just, you get less matches, and you notice that a lot of people's profiles will say, like, swipe left if you voted for Trump, or swipe left if you're not pro BLM, or swipe left if you're da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, if I was like, I can understand if it was like, if you're actually racist, swipe left. Yeah, because I agree. If you're racist, swipe left. You know what I mean? But, like, these are such complicated issues, and they're making it seem like
everyone that disagrees with them is evil.
Right. And it's like, it's very complicated. And so complicated that people have entire YouTube channels to talk about one organization, you know? That's why I have a friend, the same one that worked on the Trump campaign, and I can talk about this now because she broke up with the girl, thank God. Her ex-girlfriend, well, my friend told me that her ex-girlfriend had told her friends that she was embarrassed to bring her around because she was embarrassed by the fact that she was a Republican conservative. And my friend Brooke, let me tell you something. One of the sweetest people I've ever met. Good ass person, loyal, religious in a good way, not in a bad way, and like not a hateful way. Obviously, she's gay herself. Fiscally conservative, socially libertarian, all things that I agree with. But just agrees more with conservatism in a sense that, like, you know, free country, free market, live your life, live and let live type of thing, like
Horrifying
constitutional
stuff.
rights, like Second Amendment. She's from Florida. Second Amendment rights, because she's a woman also and she's gay, so she's like, I'm gonna protect myself type of thing. And she gets so much shit for that, like so much shit. She's not actually racist. She's not actually transphobic. She's not anti-immigration. None of the bad stuff, in my opinion. None of the actual bad stuff. And I think people don't know how to, I don't even know what the word would be. They don't know how to like pull back and see it for what it is. It's just like, okay, if you identify as this, if you're a Republican, you're automatically a horrible person. Instead of, okay, why are you a Republican? Oh, maybe you're a Republican because Republicans support the police and your son is a police officer or your brother is a police officer. Like, who the hell knows why people have certain views? Like, just talk to them a little bit. But the fact that, like, I can tell you right now, like 85% of lesbian dating profiles say something like BLM, ACAB, rainbow flags everywhere, you know, swipe left if you voted left, swipe left if you voted right type of thing. It's like, oh, come on. Like, and it's good for me because I'm like, okay, bitch.
Self-sort them out. Yeah, the intolerant people.
But it's also frustrating because it's like, these people don't take the time. Like, if somebody says in their profile that they're progressive and they don't seem like the crazy ones, I will swipe right and give them a chance and hear them out. And because maybe they're progressive with things that I'm progressive with. Like, how can I know? You have this much of a dating profile to look through. Like, how is that going to tell you about a person?
You know, I was always willing to swipe left on somebody who's liberal. I mean, swipe right, but like, that's okay. We don't have to agree about everything.
Right, exactly. We don't. But I know that conservatives are less likely to judge liberals versus liberals judging conservatives.
There's an old quote from a conservative columnist who said, Republicans think Democrats are stupid, and Democrats think Republicans are evil. I think there's some truth in that.
I think that's true, yeah. Wasn't the other quote that I like too is something about if you're not a Democrat when you're younger, you have no heart. And if you're not a Republican when you're older, you have no mind, or something like that.
I think that might be it with liberal and
conservative. Kind of the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same idea. Liberal, conservative, maybe, yeah. And it's true.
Anyway, I feel like that's a good place to wrap up the talk about pride and intolerance. And everybody, if you want to hear more about this stuff, check out Arielle's channel. The link will be in the show notes. She uploads on this all the time. But I always ask every guest at the end a lighthearted question. What's your most controversial food opinion? Food take.
Like food opinion.
I'm a huge skim milk guy. I like steak.
Time out. Did you see the TikTok? You're gonna die. Okay, there was a TikTok. I'm gonna end with this because this is one of the funniest TikToks I ever saw. It was a TikTok of a Republican woman, like a young girl, maybe 25-ish, and she was like, "Listen, you can tell everyone's political party or where they sit politically on the spectrum based on what type of milk that they drink." And she's like, if you drink oat milk, you're a communist. If you drink skim milk, if you drink skim milk, you're a socialist or something like that. I can't remember. But I remember she said, if you drink almond milk, she's like, you're fiscally conservative, socially liberal. And she'd said it like that. And I was like, literally me, because I drink almond milk. I was dying. And then she goes, and if you drink regular cow milk, there's no denying this, you're a Republican. Like, and I was like, that's literally everyone I know.
That's funny.
It was, I have to find it to you and send it to you because I was dead. I was like, this is the best TikTok I've ever seen. Because every one of my friends that drink almond milk are like that. I drink it up for more reasons than just like, it's not as obviously political thing, but I'm like slightly allergic to dairy. But it is funny that even people that I know that aren't allergic to dairy are physically conservative, socially liberal. And then they drink almond milk. I can't.
So we'll wrap it up on the milk note.
Almond milk.